I'm Larry Menti. This week on Jersey Matters, the New Jersey Teachers Union plans to be heavily involved in the upcoming election. We'll tell you what they want. We'll take you to a 9/11 memorial service in the New Jersey city hit hardest on that fateful day. It's back to school in New Jersey, and there has been a spike in the number of parents claiming a religious exemption to keep their child from getting vaccinated. And we celebrate the great baseball season of an Elizabeth Little League team who came so close to the World Series. And now our interview with Sean Spiller, Vice President of the New Jersey Education Association. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Busy times for you. Let's start off with some good news. The Quality Count Survey, which is from the highly respected Education Week, ranked New Jersey schools as #1 in the nation. That must make you and your membership proud. Yeah.
Really, we are. And I think it's what you've seen in so many different rankings that come out. We've always hovered right around #2, sometimes #1, sometimes #3, but this really reinforces what we're all about. I mean, as you noted before, we represent all educators, teachers, but certainly even support staff who help make our schools so great. And you see really the result of their work. We have the best schools in the nation.
Are the teachers and the support staff under siege right now because of the school funding formula in certain districts? And not even the school funding formula in Newark. They've laid off some teachers as well because of a funding crisis up there. What is the problem? What's happening?
We've really seen a challenge in a few different ways. First off, under our previous governor, we had our schools that were flat funded, which basically means underfunded for so many years. That created really a crisis. We appreciate the governor and this legislature's efforts to kind of put more money in, but unfortunately there were some efforts to take away some dollars from some schools, which is never a good thing. You compound that with the fact that we've got a 2% property tax cap. And what that does is oftentimes we know that expenses sometimes go up by more than that number, and therefore districts then have to reduce staff to try and make up those differences. So it's a few different things coming together that have really caused this problem, and we're hopeful that they will continue to look at this issue and try and help these students in these schools.
As of right now, are you supportive of the new funding formula and the way it's being used?
We've always supported the funding formula. We've said that, look, if you're going to go back to it, because you haven't followed it for so many years, you've got to make sure that some districts don't fall off a cliff, right? You've got to make sure that if there are areas where districts should have lost some dollars over the years, don't just cut it out from under them. Like, give them a plan, give them a pathway to slowly reduce that, or hold them harmless until others catch up to where they should be. But taking dollars away from programs that students are used to, and of course districts have come to expect, that's a problem.
I was struck by the fact that, not by the fact that you took the shot at Chris Christie, because I know you, the Teachers Union and Chris Christie have been battling for a long, long time. But I just read an article that said that your union has some frustration with the governor's office. And I thought he was going to be your white knight.
Well, the governor's great, right? Listen, first and foremost, we support the governor. He's doing a tremendous job. I think not only
no
for
frustrations?
Educators. Well, I think there's frustrations right now because our public school system, despite the fact that we're doing so well, is strained in many ways. So there's a frustration from our membership, first and foremost, getting people into the profession and keeping them. The biggest challenge that our members are facing right now is the cost of health benefits, and that's been a challenge for some time, but we're seeing those effects get worse and worse every year, and we want to keep our schools as #1 in the nation. That's a stress, and when you're stressed in that way, there's enough challenge to go around to put some on everybody.
And that's your #1 issue, right?
Yes.
Relief from Chapter 78?
Relief from Chapter 78, and quite frankly, some job justice for those support staff we're talking about. There's often instances where districts in the middle of a contract will outsource them or fire them all, and that's a problem too for stability for our schools and our kids. So those two pieces, yes, that's our
It doesn't
priority.
seem like relief for Chapter 78, which would give some health benefit cost reductions for the union members, is going to happen. Because let me make my case, and then you can tell me why I'm wrong. The Speaker seems to be for it, right? The Speaker seems to be for it. The Governor seems to be for it. The Senate President, Steve Sweeney, says it's a non-starter. They're not even going to get a vote in the Senate. So how do you get around that?
Well, I got to tell you, for some time now, I've heard it's never going to happen. There's no path. How does this work? But slowly but surely, we first elect a pro-public education governor, working, quite frankly, for some period of time with the Speaker, find a plan that saves taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars per year, and also provides that relief. And now we've got an issue that moves before the Senate President. We've heard him say, and I'm sure you have as well, a number of times that he does support our public schools and he does support educators. With that mindset and understanding that that means our kids will be successful, we're optimistic that he will see that if you've got a plan that provides savings for taxpayers, which this does, but also gives the relief that's needed to make sure that people keep coming into the profession or stay, I think he'll talk about it.
Is this personal? Did you make a mistake in going after Steve Sweeney when he ran for re-election? Because there's an old saying: if you're going to kill the king, if you're going to go after the king, you better kill him.
Well, I would say this. I think in every election, right, there's a criteria that we look at in terms of support or not support. You saw we just recently endorsed a number of legislators in the Assembly who are up this year. And our members take that seriously. They look at a number of things like voting record, issues that have come forward. And at that time, when you looked at the record and what had happened, especially under the last governor, he didn't warrant an endorsement. But as has always been the case.
No, you spent money to try to take him out.
Sure. Well, and as you've seen in the endorsements that we just put forward, we'll support candidates, both sides of the aisle, by the way, or a governor, whatever that may be. We'll put dollars and our work, our sweat equity of our members behind candidates that support our views. We've also endorsed the Senate President in the past. So it depends on the issues. It depends on the current stance on different things that are coming forward. But I'm optimistic that we need to work together.
So
this
it wasn't
about
a mistake.
Great schools.
It wasn't a mistake.
I think no election there's a mistake. It's a matter of a snapshot of what's going on at that time. And things change. It's very fluid. Things change from year to year.
Have things changed?
I think so. I think things have absolutely changed. In terms
with him, with specifically with the Senate President, things have changed. You feel a better relationship now?
Well, I'd say this. In terms of this issue specifically, I think there's more conversation about it than there has been before. There's a recognition that there is a problem. I think we've heard the Senate President say that before as well. It's unintended consequences. We've got to make sure that we are in there in support, working together with the Senate President, the Speaker, the Governor, us, all people who are standing up for public employees at large, but certainly as educators, and saying, look, this is what we need to make sure we've got the best public schools. We just saw those rankings. We got to keep them high. How do we all work together, despite whatever differences we may have?
I was looking through the list of districts that are going to get, 28 districts are getting funding for pre-K. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at the districts and it jumped out at me. I didn't see Newark getting pre-K. I didn't see Jersey City. I saw Ocean County. I saw Atlantic County. Are you concerned with the way that money's being distributed?
Well, I'm concerned that we don't have enough dollars to put out. I know the governor wanted additional dollars to support that program, and we are supportive because as educators, we know early education is the key. Being a high school science teacher myself, I see what happens if students don't get that support until later. It's very expensive, right? Not only is it frustrating for parents and kids, but now you've got to have multiple educators in one classroom trying to give that more individualized attention, when we all know that if we were just able to start a little earlier and give kids those opportunities, they have much better outcomes, and it's better for us in terms of our tax dollars. So it's frustrating when, in a somewhat of a short-sighted way, we cut programs like that or don't fully fund them. I'm happy the governor's been asking for those dollars, and I hope the legislature can keep putting dollars in.
How active will you be in this election coming up?
Very active. You just saw we endorsed a number of candidates, again, on both sides of the aisle. Elected officials who stand with us, stand for public education, stand up for our students and our communities. We're right there with them.
Are you going after specific seats?
Well, again, the ones that we've endorsed, we're going to be there in support, and I guess you could say that means going after their opponents.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but we're going to be there in support.
Trying to switch a seat.
Yeah, if there's a non-incumbent where we've endorsed, we're going to try and switch a seat.
Oh, but you're not going after incumbents.
Well, in some cases we are, in some cases we aren't. Yeah. Depends on the district.
I'll ask you when we get closer. Thank you so much.
Always good to see you.
I really appreciate it.
You.
Sean Spiller is the Vice President of the New Jersey Education Association. Jersey Matters continues right after this. Still to come, if you like spending cash at retail stores, we may have some bad news. We'll explain when Jersey Matters continues.